The Obama administration has said they need to make the government shutdown as painful as possible so people realize how important government is and how dangerous it is to shut down even a tiny bit of government. Well, you never would have thought that the government shutdown would include kicking people out of their own homes. Now, what do you say? What, Peter, are you making this stuff up? What do you mean? I mean, what does a government shutdown have to do with somebody living in their house? And why would the government have to kick somebody out of their house because some government employees aren't working? Well, this is a news report. This is from KTNV in Las Vegas. This is a family living in a home in Lake Mead. Now, apparently, around Lake Mead. And Lake Mead is a man-made lake out in Las Vegas. Apparently, it's on federal land. Although, what does that have to do with the shutdown? I can't figure it out, but I'll let you listen to this news report. I'll play the first clip, cut number 12.
New tonight, the government shutdown is being felt close to home for some locals. They say they're being forced out of their private homes on Lake Mead because they sit on federal land. Action News reporter Jackie Heinrich is joining us with more on that tonight. Jackie.
Well, some of the people being forced out are senior citizens. One couple we talked to has been spending most of their time in the family ice cream shop since going home isn't an option.
So what do you mean? What did they board up her house? I mean, how can they say? I mean, they got guards, walking around her house, or the armed to make sure that this little old lady can't get back in her house? Now, first of all, how much money is this costing us? Because I thought the government was shutting down. So where do we have money to put troops around this lady's house, or people, to send people to board it up with wood or putting tape around it? I mean, what does it have to do with the shutdown? To me, it seems like this is an increase in government. See, government is supposedly shutting down, yet this woman is not seeing a shutdown. She's seeing a startup. She's seeing all sorts of government interference in her life during the shutdown that didn't exist when the government was fully functioning. So how is it a government shutdown? Again, it's an Orwellian world. It's the opposite. So shutting down government means making government a lot bigger. Only in America. I mean, that's, hey, the government is shut down, so we've sent government agents to your house to kick you out. I mean, if the government is shut down, where are the agents coming from, right? If the government shutdown is supposed to mean that there's not as much government. Why does the government shutdown mean that we have more government than ever before, right? We have so much government now that they're able to be dispatched to people's homes to kick them out. And this is a story, from Lake Mead. And I'm trying to find out, I'm going to play the next cut, because apparently this woman who runs a local ice cream parlor is stuck in her ice cream parlor because she can't go back to her house, because somehow the government agents have managed to prevent her from gaining access to her house. And I don't know if it's just roped off, boarded off, if there's armed government patrols, circling her house, making sure that nobody goes into it because the government is supposedly shut down. What the government has to do with this house, I still don't have a clue. I mean, maybe Lake Mead is technically federal land, but if she owns a house, who cares if it's on federal land? What does it have to do with the shutdown? But anyway, here's some more of this report. It's cut number 13.
Joyce Spencer is 77. Her husband Ralph is 80. They never expected to be forced out of their Lake Mead home, which they've owned since the 70s. But on Thursday, a park ranger said they had 24 hours to get out. Her reaction?
Why? I mean, that's really weird. And he said, because we can't provide any services.
Joyce and Ralph live right down this road. Only problem is, this is in the way.
The home sits on federal land, so even though the Spencers own their cabin outright, they're not allowed in until the government reopens. The department's on furlough. Park officials say property owners can go back only to remove belongings. They sent us this statement saying, unfortunately, overnight stays are not permitted until a budget is passed and the park can reopen.
All right. Okay, so the government can't provide them with services. I wonder what services the government won't be able to provide, because they're not getting their electricity from the government. They're not getting their water from the federal government. They're not getting their cable. I'm sure the federal government doesn't pick up their trash. I mean, what are all these federal services that the government can no longer provide? And you know what? If this individual, these homeowners, I mean, why can't they live there without those government services? Why are they required to accept these so-called government services as a condition of their living there? So if the government can't provide these services, which are probably unidentified, I mean, what is? I mean, I would like to know what the services that they generally provide. Maybe they explain it. Maybe they explain it later in this interview. Here's the next cut that we have, the last one, number 14.
But somebody told them to have to move out of their place,
With just 24 hours notice to get out and no set time to return, Joyce had a lot of work ahead of her.
Be sure and get his walker and his scooter that he has to go in.
Joyce says she's all right in the meantime, staying with nearby family.
We're not hurting anyway, except it might cost me a little bit. I'd have to go buy more pants or something, but we're fine.
The Lake Mead properties are considered vacation homes. One of the requirements to own a plot is people must have an alternative residence. But the Spencers say regardless, it's their property and they should be allowed in, shut down or not. Live in the studio.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the government is simply trying to think of ways to inconvenience people without any regard to the individuals themselves or whether or not there is the expenditure of money. I mean, the whole idea behind the government shutdown, theoretically, is the government doesn't have the budget. They can't spend money. But they don't have to shut down things that don't cost any money to operate. Meanwhile, the government is operating all sorts of stuff. I mean, they're spending all kinds of money. So clearly, they can spend a lot of money, and these budgets don't have any real restraint. So what are they doing? It's all a charade. And the politicians, they don't give a damn about this elderly couple. I'm surprised they even let her take her walker out of there. Why don't they just confiscate that, and her scooter? But no, she can't go to her house because, this is on federal land. I mean, they are going out of their ways to try to figure out how to use the government shutdown as a way to inflict pain on as many American citizens as possible to try to convince everybody that this is what happens when you limit government, that our lives are inextricably tied to government and the growth of government, and that everything falls apart. Why? Without government, we can't fish. What do you mean? I talked about that yesterday. They want to close the oceans. Hey, if the government shut down, no one's allowed to fish. So we're supposed to think, oh, thank God we have government because I like fishing. And if the government shuts down, I can't fish. Therefore, we need government so I can fish, right? But no. See, if there was no government, you can just go out and fish. The government is the one that tells you that you can't fish. Or the government says, hey, you can only fish if we have all these government police monitoring the seas. And now, if we don't have the money for those government police to monitor the seas, well, then you're not allowed to fish. But somehow you're supposed to assume that the only reason you can fish is because you have government. When, of course, you could do all the fishing you want if it wasn't for all the government restrictions on our ability to fish. But this is all, theater. It's all charade. It's all propaganda so the government can convince us how vital they are.